The hallway light was already on when I got home. I always turn it off before leaving. Like and subscribe. And if you've experienced something similar, leave a comment.
Recovered horror files, statement transcript. Location: suburban apartment complex, year 2018. Case status: open. Entry method presumed spare key.
The hallway light was already on when I got home. I always turn it off before leaving. This is a true statement taken after the incident in October 2018. I lived alone in Building C of a mid-sized suburban apartment complex. 3rd floor, end unit, keyed lobby entrance, 2 exterior stairwells. I left for work at 6:10 a.m. and came back between 4:20 and 4:40. The light was on 3 times in 1 week. At first, I told myself I forgot. Then my trash bag was flattened beside the door. I leave it tied upright every morning. When I came home, it looked stepped on. Nothing taken. 2 days later, my doormat was flipped upside down. Plain gray mat, rubber backing. It doesn't flip by accident. I tested my locks right there in the hallway. Deadbolt, handle lock, chain, all engaged. No scratches around the strike plate. No loose screws. I asked the neighbor across the hall if maintenance had been in. He worked nights. He said no. He hadn't seen anyone lingering in the corridor. I started taking photos before leaving. Countertops, shoe rack, bathroom cabinet, the light switch down. I also kept a note on my phone. Time I left, time I returned, anything out of place. The second anomaly was my spare key. I kept it in a small black magnetic key box, about the size of a deck of cards, a sliding lid. I stuck it underneath the metal stair rail on the east side of the building, where you had to crouch and reach up to touch it. After the doormat incident, I checked it. The box was still in the same spot, same angle, same dust line on the metal, but the key inside was gone. I searched the gravel directly beneath it. I ran my fingers along the rail seams in case it wedged. Nothing. I hadn't touched that spare in months. No one had a reason to know it was there. 3 nights later, at 9:14 p.m., my door handle moved. Not a slam, not a shake, a slow turn, a pause, another attempt. I was inside with the lights off and the TV muted. I didn't move. After 20 seconds, footsteps went down the hall toward the stairwell. No voices, just the stair door hinge squeak and then silence. In the morning, I called the property manager. She said no work orders existed for my unit. She also said the stairwell cameras were down for repairs. No footage. I asked how he got past the lobby door. She said residents used keys, not fobs, and deliveries were let in all day. The east stairwell door didn't always latch. She called it a known issue. No one fixed it. I saved the call log and took a photo of the latch plate hanging loose. Same day, time-stamped photo. That afternoon, I bought a small motion camera and aimed it at my front door from inside. It saved clips to an SD card. I also put a thin strip of tape across the top of the door, half on the frame, half on the door, so I could see if it opened while I was gone. For 3 days, nothing. On the 4th day, I came home at 4:28 p.m. The tape was split. My bathroom cabinet was open. I keep it closed. Always. I checked the card. At 1:03 p.m., my deadbolt turned from the outside. The door opened cleanly. A man stepped in wearing a dark hoodie and work gloves, black face covering. He didn't rush. He went straight to the kitchen drawers, opened 2, then walked to the bathroom cabinet. He stayed 6 minutes. He never looked at the camera. When he left, he locked the door behind him. He didn't take my laptop. He didn't touch the TV. He didn't go near the bedroom. He moved like he already knew where things were. I paused the video and zoomed in on the key. Blue plastic head. My daily keys were plain metal. The spare I hid had a blue head. I filed a police report that night and gave them the footage. The responding officer confirmed no forced entry marks. He said the missing spare explained it. Without a clear face, there wasn't much to ID. He told me to change the locks and call immediately if someone returned. I paid to change the locks the next morning. New deadbolt, new handle set. I added a rubber door wedge for when I was home. For 2 weeks, nothing happened. Then, at 2:17 a.m., on a Sunday, my door handle moved again. This time it didn't stop. The handle twisted hard. The deadbolt held. Then steady pressure pushed against the door, like someone leaning their body weight into it. The wedge squeaked on the floor. I called 911 and whispered my unit number. The pressure stopped before officers arrived. They checked the stairwells. No one found. Cameras still out. The officer asked if I had anyone with a reason. I didn't. The next afternoon, I went to the east stair rail. The magnetic box was back. Same size, same black plastic. Stuck under the rail like before. Empty. Management denied placing it there. Police wrote, "Suspect unknown. Entry method presumed stolen spare key. No further evidence recovered." I didn't move out the next day. I stayed, changed routines, and kept the new locks. Because whoever took the blue key didn't just enter once. They came back to show they could.
Recovered horror files. Statement transcript. Location: small town residential house. Year: 2015. Case status: closed. Camera data: missing window.
In May 2015, I gave a statement to the county sheriff after a series of nights at my house. This is a true report, written from my notes and call logs. I lived on Cedar Lane in a small town. One-story house, gravel driveway, backyard bordered by woods. Nearest neighbor was 2 houses down. Streetlights ended at the corner. The first anomaly was the motion light over my garage. It clicked on at 11:47 p.m., 3 nights in a row. Same minute. I checked it in daylight. No branches, no loose wiring. I changed the bulb anyway. Night 4, it came on again. 11:47. I watched from the living room window with the lights off. I saw nothing, but the light stayed on for the full 2 minutes, like it was reading movement, not a surge. I set my phone on the coffee table and recorded video through the glass. At 11:49, a shape crossed the edge of the driveway. Not a person walking, more like someone crouched and moving low, using the shadow line. Reveal 1 was the footprint. The next morning, I found a single boot print in the damp dirt under my bedroom window. Size looked large, tread pattern sharp. My dog had been gone for a month. I didn't have a dog anymore. No reason for prints there. I called my brother to stay the next night. He couldn't. He was 2 hours away. I didn't want to sound dramatic, so I told him it was probably a drunk cutting through the yard. I bought 2 cheap cameras that afternoon. One over the front door, one looking at the back steps. Battery powered, motion activated. I tested them at 6:30 p.m. Both worked. Red indicator blinked on motion. At 1:12 a.m., my bedroom window screen made a faint metallic tap, like a fingernail on aluminum. I sat up in bed and listened. Another tap, then a slow scrape. I didn't open the curtains. I reached for my phone and dialed 911 without hitting call. I waited for a louder sound. The scrape stopped. In the morning, the back camera had no footage from 12:50 to 1:30. The front camera did. It recorded a car idling on the street with its lights off. Just a dark outline where the street should have been. The timestamp ran for 8 minutes. Reveal 2 was the camera. The back camera was dead. Battery still full. No error light. Just a blank file list, like it had been turned off and on. That night I left my porch light on and put a chair under the back door knob. I also pushed a thin stick into the track of the sliding glass door. At 2:06 a.m., the back door handle tested once, then twice. The chair trembled against the door. The stick in the slider track clicked, like pressure hit the frame. I moved to the kitchen with my phone in my hand. I didn't yell. I didn't unlock anything. I hit call. "Sheriff's office," the dispatcher said. I gave my address. I said someone was trying my back door. I stayed behind the kitchen island and watched the back door window. A face appeared in the glass, not close enough to see eyes, close enough to see the outline of a hood and a hand on the handle. He stopped moving when he heard the dispatcher's voice through my phone. Then he did something that made my stomach drop. He lifted his hand and pressed a small black square to the glass, like tape, like a lens cover. Reveal 3 was the blind spot. My back camera faced the steps, not the door glass. Whoever it was knew where the camera pointed. He left before deputies arrived. They found fresh scuffs in the dirt by the steps and a flattened patch in the grass near the fence line, like someone waited there. The deputies did not tell me to move. They took photos. They checked the windows. They logged the times. They said they'd do extra patrols. They arrived at 2:24 a.m., 2 cruisers. One deputy walked my perimeter with a flashlight while the other stood in my kitchen and listened to the 911 playback on speaker. They photographed the tape square he left on the glass. It was just electrical tape, pressed flat, no prints. The deputy asked if I had blinds facing the road. I did, he said. Then someone watched you call. They checked the woods line and found nothing but a broken twig and a cigarette filter. No DNA result ever came back yet. After that night, I moved the back camera higher under the eave and marked the window screen screws with a dot of clear tape. I also wrote down every time a car passed after midnight. 3 nights later, the motion light didn't trip at 11:47. It tripped at 3:18 a.m. The front camera caught headlights rolling past with no brake lights, slow. Then the same car returned 10 minutes later. I couldn't read a plate, but the passenger side headlight was dimmer than the other. On follow-up, the deputy said they had a local man on a prowling stop a mile away. Gloves, black tape, a cheap radio scanner, boots that matched the tread in my yard. He denied my address. No confession, no recovered camera data. I changed my locks anyway. Case status on my report: closed. Suspect charged. Motive unclear. The back camera data was never recovered.
Recovered horror files, statement transcript. Location, Route 16, outside city limits. Year, 2022. Case status, unresolved. Vehicle plate, unreadable.
In September 2022, I gave a statement to state police after a highway pursuit outside city limits. This is a true report based on my dashcam time codes and my call log. I was driving on Route 16 at 9:38 p.m., 2 lanes, no median, trees tight to the shoulder. The last lit business was behind me. I was 40 minutes from the city. A dark sedan stayed in my mirror, 6 car lengths. It didn't pass. It didn't fall back. I tested it. At 9:46, I dropped from 55 to 48. The sedan dropped with me. I went back to 55. It returned to the same gap like it was tethered. Micro Reveal 1 was the turn. At 9:49, I took a random right onto Old Quarry Road. No houses, no mailboxes, no reason to take it. The sedan followed within 3 seconds. Clean, no hesitation. Old Quarry ends at a T. Left returns to Route 16. Right goes into a gravel lot used by utility crews. I turned left. The sedan turned left. My phone showed 1 bar, then none. I started dashcam audio at 9:52 and said the time out loud. I also said what I could see. Dark body, dim right headlight, front plate area blank. Back on Route 16, I pushed to 65, then 70. The sedan stayed behind me, same distance. I couldn't hear its engine over mine, which bothered me more than noise would have. At 9:54, it changed behavior. It drifted closer, then eased back, like it was checking my blind spots. It crossed the center line for half a second, as if it might pass, then snapped back behind me when headlights appeared in the oncoming lane. I flashed my hazards 4 blinks and shut them off. Not a signal, a check. The sedan didn't react like a normal driver. No slowdown, no backing off. Micro Reveal 2 was the light. At 9:56, an oncoming truck lit the sedan. The grille badge was missing. The windshield tint strip sat low, like it was meant to hide a face. The right headlight was visibly weaker. The driver window looked darker than legal. I didn't want to stop on the shoulder. I needed cameras and people. The only option ahead was a truck stop 2 miles off the highway, open all night. I signaled early. The sedan closed the gap for the first time. 4 lengths, then 3. I took the exit at 9:58. It took the exit. I entered the lot and did not park. I drove past the pumps toward the storefront, aiming for bright light and witnesses. The sedan followed and held the lane behind me, like it wanted me boxed in. Point of no return was the block. I swung wide around a parked semi. The sedan accelerated and pulled alongside my driver's side at maybe 10 miles an hour, close enough that I could see gloved hands on the wheel. The windows were dark. No face ID. I laid on the horn and kept moving. People near the doors turned. A man stopped and stared. A couple by the ice machine looked up and stepped back. The sedan dropped back, then rushed forward and angled its nose toward my front bumper. It slowed like it was about to tap my bumper, but didn't. I braked hard, my belt locked. I called 911 at 10:01 and left the line open. I drove loops in front of the store, staying under the brightest lights. I gave dispatch the location and description. I said I had no plate and service. The dispatcher told me to stay in the vehicle. She asked if the other driver had a weapon. I said I couldn't see the driver. I could only see gloves and tinted glass. The sedan idled near the edge of the lot, facing me. Then it moved toward the exit like it was leaving. It didn't leave. Micro Reveal 3 was the blind spot. It slipped behind a dumpster row where my dashcam couldn't see it and the lot lights were weaker. 2 minutes passed. 3. I kept circling so it couldn't time a clean approach. At 10:08, it came out fast and cut across empty spaces toward my driver's side. I turned toward the storefront to force it into the open. It swerved, missed me by a few feet, and shot out the exit. A trooper arrived at 10:12 with lights on. The sedan was gone. They took my dashcam card. They checked the lot cameras. One was pointed too high and caught only roof lines. Another was blocked by a flag banner. The exit camera had a dead zone at the exact angle the sedan used. The clerk said the DVR was on an overwrite loop. On the highway shoulder, the trooper asked why I didn't drive straight to a station. I said I had no service, no plate, and I needed light and witnesses. He wrote it down. He noted the headlight mismatch. A week later, I saw a dark sedan with a dim right headlight parked in the corner of my grocery lot. It pulled out when I left, then made a sudden turn after one intersection. I couldn't prove it was the same car. I reported it anyway. The investigator added it as an addendum, then told me there was no further evidence. 2 weeks later, the investigator called. No match, no readable plate. The truck stop had overwritten most footage before the request went through. My report lists: vehicle unidentified, direction of travel unknown after exit, suspect not located, case status unresolved.